Welcome back to Switzer. My next guest has made iconic products that many of you may well have in your camping gear, your fishing basket, or even on your bar. His name is Tim Leatherman, and he founded the company Leatherman, and he joined us in the studio to tell us about how he created an unforgettable brand. Thanks for joining us on the program.
My pleasure.
Tim. I've got to ask this question. Did you change your name for your business?
You might think so, but no. I can trace my Leatherman roots clear back to Germany, clear back in the 1400s.
Okay. But because your name is Leatherman, did that make you want to become associated with a product called Leatherman?
Actually, my co-founder suggested we name the company Leatherman Tool, and I think he had a motive behind it that I didn't realize at the time.
Yeah.
I think he realized that if my name were on every tool, I'd want to make each one perfect.
Yeah.
I would try even harder to work even harder than I would have otherwise.
What was the inspiration? Was it the Swiss Army knife that was out there? You thought, I can do it better than that.
It was my wife and I traveling. We took a budget trip to Europe in 1975.
Yep.
I was carrying a pocket knife, but often needed pliers.
Mm-hmm.
That trip was a sort of a what are we going to do with the rest of our lives trip. And one of the ideas I jotted down was, in essence, said, add pliers to a pocket knife.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that was in 1975. Now, were you a tradesman? Did you have that kind of skill to do something like that? Or you were just someone like, hey, how hard could that be?
I had a degree in mechanical engineering from university,
okay,
but I had no machinist skills.
Okay.
But I had a brother-in-law who was a skilled machinist, and he had some equipment in his shop, and he allowed me to work in his garage.
Okay. So you made your first tool. What was the first tool? What functions did it have on it?
Well, the first tool, always I thought I had the idea of having pliers,
yeah,
and then a few screwdrivers and a knife blade.
Yeah.
And I have to admit I'm a slow inventor. I spent 8 years in my garage developing the tool and looking for a customer.
Okay. And so when you found the customer, where do you come from? What state, what town?
I'm from the state of Oregon, the city of Portland, Oregon.
Okay. So it took you 8 years to perfect something that you could take to market? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and the tool went through many iterations through its development. It took about 3 years to develop a tool that I liked, and at which point I filed a patent.
Yeah.
And then tried to sell the patent rights to knife companies.
Yeah.
They were quite polite, but they said, sorry, it's not a knife, it's a tool.
Mm.
I then went to the tool companies. They said, sorry, not a tool, it's a gadget.
Yeah.
Gadgets don't sell.
So, but those rejections were the best rejections you could have had, because after 30 years, is your 30-year anniversary?
Yes, the company has now been in existence for 30 years.
How big is the company? Do you make them in America, or do you make them in Asia nowadays?
No, we do the vast majority of the work in our own factory in Portland, Oregon.
The country would love you for that too, I'd say. Yeah. And how many employees do you have nowadays?
We have more than 500 employees.
Yeah. Did you ever imagine you'd be running a business as big as this?
No, I never did.
Yeah.
There was a time during that 8-year period when I was getting pretty discouraged.
Yeah.
And I would have been quite happy to have built tools for 6 months in my garage and spent another 6 months selling them, and then the next year do the same thing.
Yeah. So can you explain the really big break that helped you go from a garage manufacturer and probably a struggling retailer at once, manufacturing retailer, to actually getting to the stage where you could grow to become a 500-strong workforce?
One of the keys was a friend of mine from university days stepped in after about 7 years and suggested there were still a few things I hadn't tried, and we became partners.
Yeah.
And so we were quite sure at that point that the only way to get the tool on the market was to make it ourselves.
Yeah.
But we were looking for a customer to place an order big enough to justify going into production.
Yeah.
And we were able to find a mail order catalog that placed an order for 500 tools.
Right.
And based on that, we did decide to go into production. we were quite lucky that Steve's father had a metalworking business, and we were able to take the equipment that I'd accumulated in my garage, move it into his business, and then his father let us use his machinery and his employees on a subcontract basis.
Yep. So you got the 500 order there, but you're in department stores all around the world, aren't you now?
Well, there was a big step there in that the second sale was to another mail order catalog that ordered 250 tools. And the delivery was due in late December of 1983. A couple of days after Christmas, they called and said, our 250 tools, where are they? We said, we're running a little bit late. We'll have them for you any day. They said, they've all been sold. Here's an order for 500 more.
God.
A week after that, 500 are gone. Here's an order for 750. Okay. 2 weeks later, the 750 have been sold. Here's an order for 1,000. And I think what happened was that the people saw this strange-looking object, purchased it, found out it was very, very useful, started telling all their friends, and there's just tremendous...
It went viral.
Yeah, there's tremendous... In those days, we wouldn't have used that word 30 years ago, but it was a tremendous word of mouth. So in the first year, when we're hoping... In the first year, we sold 200 tools. The second year, 30,000 tools. The third year, 70,000, 160,000. And 10 years after our first year, we were selling more than 1 million of the original Leatherman tools in 1 year.
Are you being helped nowadays because of the terrorist threat? So many people get their tools taken off them when they go through. So you're getting new demand because people are losing them at the airport?
No, actually, it's hurt us.
Yeah.
Because people used to carry their tool all the time. They lost it in the airport. They may go ahead and buy another one, but they stopped carrying it as much. Yeah. They're not using as much. They're not showing it as much. And it's been a bit of a struggle since 9/11.
Okay, you wanted to do a live demonstration, which has never been done on the Switzer program, but I'm a person who's prepared to give a punt. So why don't you take it away and show us what you want to do?
Thank you very much. What I would like to show is that a Leatherman tool is precise and strong.
Okay.
And it's precise enough that the wire cutters will cut paper as if they were scissors.
Right. Yeah.
And the same tool...
Hold it a bit higher there, they're telling me.
And the same tool is strong enough to cut this nail. But I'm not. So I have this fixture to help me.
Yeah.
I'll put the tool in the fixture. I'll put the...
don't lose him, guys. This is a big
fixture on the floor.
Big gamble on the Switzer program. Have you got his feet? Oh, he's on the feet. Yep.
I will then stand on the tool.
Yeah.
And jump. At this point, I hope the
nail's cut in two.
Nail is in two pieces. The tool is still in one.
Hold it up to prove it. Yeah.
Here's the nail in two pieces.
Yeah. Trust me, he's done it.
And the tool
still can cut paper.
Cuts paper.
And that's the one tool. That little gadget you got there to actually give you more leverage. Do you sell that as well?
No, this is the only one in the world.
Okay, but certainly it's a fantastic example of the capability of this tool.
The tool, by the way, is guaranteed for 25 years.
Okay. What are your sales like in Australia?
Our sales in Australia are quite good.
Yep.
They're on a per capita basis. They're higher than they are in the United States.
Oh, fantastic! So you obviously you've been well accepted in this country.
Yes, I think it's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outdoor activity, a lot of hunting, camping, fishing, hiking. Yeah. And I think the mindset of the Australians are that if you get in trouble, you got to get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, like Americans, we tend to be rather ingenious and prepared to do things on the run.
I think
so. What's the potential for the company? Obviously, you have 5-year plans and things like that. Where do you think this company's going to go to?
Well, we always want to be the leader in what's come to be known as the multi-tool category. And then there's a plan to grow through complementary products.
Yeah.
In just the last couple of years, we joined up with a German company that produces LED flashlights.
Tim, it's been a great pleasure having you on the program. I love iconic businesses, particularly ones that take the world by storm. Thanks for joining us on the program.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tim. That's the show for this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.